if it was pursed around a straw. And so that's one of the parts of the meditation. So I just want to practice that real quick. Everyone can see me. So that way, when we're in the meditation, your eyes are closed. You're not like, wait, what is she doing? Okay, so it's a breath into the nose and then pursed lips. And I find this breath, I use this when I'm overwhelmed or overstimulated. And because it's the holidays, I wanted to incorporate that. I'm the mom, so I make the Christmas happen. So I wanted to incorporate that for everybody else. So we're going to do that. And if does anybody have any questions on that? Does everybody feel comfortable with that breath? Yes, we're good. Okay, so if you can and you feel comfortable, please close your eyes a moment and let yourself be here now. You know, I don't know what you had going on before you got on Zoom or what you have going on after Zoom, but for this time, this is your time. This is your self-care. This time is about you, about connecting, about learning, about, you know, resting, all of those things. So this is your time. So take a moment and I want you to take 3 straw breaths, the one I just showed you, on your own time. And as a way of kind of settling into your body, into the here and now. So on your own time, deep straw breath in and out, and if you can, with eyes closed. And now you can continue the straw breath, or you can just take some deep breaths, however you feel comfortable, while I say our opening prayer. So continue the straw breath if that feels good. If not, drop it and just take some deep belly breaths. So we like to thank the elementals and the elements of the south, of fire, for holding the light, for protecting, for guarding, for guiding us, for showing us the way forward. And we like to connect to the elementals and the elements of the West, of water, of intuition, of flow. And we ask that you protect and guard us and guide us, and you open our hearts and you guide our hearts forward. May our hearts come forward, kind of putting our thinking and our other kind of mental activity behind us. May we lead with our heart. And we thank the elementals and the elements of the north, the earth. May we be grounded in all that we say and all that we do. May we feel that deep connection to the Mother Earth. May we be protected, guarded, and guided. And we thank the elementals and the elements of the east, the air. May we have clarity. May we be able to feel free. May we be able to soar. May we be able to dream. Thank you for protecting, guarding, and guiding us. We thank the great Mother Earth, Pachamama, Gaia. We thank your animals and your creature teachers of earth, air, fire, sky, water. We thank the stones and the plants and the trees and the flowers. We thank the land spirits and the people that came before us where we are. And we honor them. We honor the trees. We honor the earth beneath our feet and the earth within us. And we honor the great creator above. We honor the sky and the moon and the sun and the stars, the cosmos. We are stars, and we thank you for guiding us and protecting us from above. And today I'd like to bring in the energy of Our Lady Guadalupe. This is your special day, your feast day, and we leave metaphorical roses at your feet, and we thank you for helping us be compassionate, patient, loving, kind, nurturing to ourselves. May we mother ourselves first before others. And now I want you to just take a moment to do a really gentle body scan. And I always begin my body scans at my feet because it takes us out of our thinking mind. So just tune in. There's no judgment here. So if your feet hurt, if they feel sore, That's okay. We're not judging our body or any of the pain that's in our body. We're just getting to the feet and we're sending them a little love. We're thanking them. We're thinking about how they carry us everywhere and how, what an amazing thing, right? Just these little feet take us to all these places. And then we're going to send some love to our legs that help us move around and get places. Send some love to our bellies, no matter how big or so small, right? Our bellies nourish us, and our bellies have all of our vital organs and all the things that we need. We recognize and love our hearts and our heart center, our lungs for helping us breathe, our arms and our hands that let us pet little animals and hold babies and make crafts and cook and do work and do all the things we need to do. We give love to our hands. And we give love to our faces, making sure our jaws are relaxed, right? That we're not holding any tension in our neck, dropping our shoulders, making sure our shoulders aren't up against our ears, right? Really letting everything rest. And then taking a deep breath. It could be a straw breath, regular breath. And I want you to just tune into a moment, for a moment, of the energy of this year, right? If you were to, without having to overthink it, if I say to you, tell me the energy of 2024 for you, just what comes to mind? And you don't have to say it, just could be a symbol, a feeling, an energy, a word. 2024, what is that energy? What has it been for you? And there's no wrong, right? Sometimes the first thing that pops in, we're like, no, but let that thing come forward. What does the energy of 2024 mean for you? What has it held for you? And then I want you to think about 2025, next year. What is it that your heart desires? Maybe not what your head or your logic or what your bank account says or people in your life say, but what is your heart saying it needs in 2025? Your spirit, your soul, that part of you, what does it want in 2025? And again, just accept what comes up. And then when you're ready, if you want to, when you're ready, you want to open your eyes slowly, kind of come back a little bit. If you have a place to quickly write down those words or those feelings that came up for last year and this year, it could be on your phone, it could just be like on the computer, so you don't lose them. Feel free to just jot them down. I often will lose stuff like within 5 minutes. So I'll be quiet a moment and let you do that. And now I would like to invite you to unmute yourselves, even if you're not on camera. Like, that's fine. I don't always want to be on camera. Like I said, I have acupuncture pillow marks on my face, but here I am. So please feel free to unmute because this is a chat. I was explaining before some other people got here to Christine that right now our coven is in this sweet spot of being cozy enough that we can do this and like I can get to know you. I have a feeling it won't always be like that. So let's enjoy that, right, while it lasts. Um, we are going to talk about, let me go over some things, and then I definitely want to leave time for questions and things. So the first thing I want to talk about is the activity we just did about last year and this year. And I asked in our coven, what are some wins you're celebrating this year? So I would love to hear from you. And then, so let's start there. So what are some wins? And it's okay, like, wins are wins. Like I never want you to be like, oh, my win's kind of small. Like I consistently drink water every day. No, that's a huge win to me, right? Like please celebrate any win. So I will go first. A win for me has been like really much better self-care. because my expectation of self-care was always like there. And then like what I could actually do was like here, and then I would just feel shame.
Mhm.
You're like, oh, I didn't meet the crazy goals I set for myself. And then I would feel like guilt and shame and embarrassment, like, oh, I didn't do that. So this year, the goal was to savor. So that was, I pick every year going into the new year, I pick a keyword. And my keyword this year was savor because I tend to be like being a working mom and being a recovering people pleaser and perfectionist, I tend to go from one thing to the next. And I don't really savor ever, right? I mean, I am a Taurus, so I do like savor chocolate. But other than that, I don't really like savor the day to day. And so I kept going back to that. Like, am I savoring my workout or my morning walk with my dog? Or am I just like getting it done? And so that was good. And I did really struggle with it. There were times where I'm like, oh, I'm definitely not savoring. Like I'm not like I'm out here videoing instead of like savoring the walk for being like a content creator. It's like this whole balance thing that I had to really work with this year. So that's a win for me is I do feel like getting at the end of this year, okay, like I actually have some things in place that are realistic and that I actually feel like I'm caring for myself, um, which is a big win for me. So would anybody else like to share some wins?
I can.
Okay, thank
Um,
you.
okay. Well, after doing the meditation, what I did have written down originally doesn't seem as important as what I just figured out. Um, so with the meditation, I realized that growth was my big thing for last year. Reason being, um, at the at October 2023, my brother died of an overdose. Um, and he's older, and I had looked after both of my brothers for most of my life, and now I don't have either one of them. So this year was figuring out what to do without that element in my life and getting through the year and learning how to not panic at everything, like every phone call, not jump, not just be and figure out the things I wanted to do. So that's my big win.
I'm so sorry for your loss, but also that's beautiful that you're learning how to fill the space in a positive way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a
Thank
huge win.
you.
Yeah.
I think mine was like the words that came to mind for 2024 was just like simple joys. You know, I was thinking about, I'm like, oh wow, this was the year that I like Yule was the first, pagan festival that I kind of started interest in, and that was last year at this time. And like I went through all the seasons and I went through all of the festivals throughout the year, and I really like savored and enjoyed what comes out of like late winter, early spring, late spring, and I got to share some of those things with my family. And we didn't go on big trips this year. We didn't do anything like a big 10-day vacation or anything like that. It was just like small trips to like our local beach, and just enjoying the moon or like looking at the stars a little bit more and that sort of thing. And just like feeling like I was connecting to natural cycles a lot more this year. And that's just, yeah, that was just simple joy that I was able to kind of weave throughout my entire year.
Well, that's beautiful. And do you go by Maddie or
I do,
Madeline?
yeah, I do. I think this is my work one that popped
Just
up.
make, I just don't want to call you like what you don't prefer. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
no worries.
So do you have any little tips for Yule since this will be your second Yule?
Oh, well, what I'm excited about is like I actually saved a log last year from our tree. So I'm excited that's the new one that we're going to introduce this year. And even my husband was like, so when do we do the Yule log? When do we burn that log? So that's like the add-on this year. But, it's been little things like doing, decorations with like nature-based decorations, like the ornaments where we put in plants from that we gathered from our backyard and from the local trail and things like that. And um, nothing specific comes to mind at this point, but I think we're building on last year.
That's awesome. And what are you going to do with the Yule log for people that don't know?
Yeah, I think what the plan will be to kind of decorate it with natural items, probably some like cedar and maybe some of like the dried oranges that I've got, and put some candles on them. And maybe have them, as a display for a little bit, but then what I'll do is we'll actually burn it, whether it's in my fireplace or the area that I live in, we actually have burn piles because we need to like clear the land for fire safety. So we can do burn piles during this time of year when it's safe to do them. So it might be an outdoor bonfire, it might be an outdoor campfire, and just, reflecting on, like, I'm thinking about it right now. It's like it's collecting a lot of dust, but also memories from the year that we've had, and just kind of honoring those and kind of like putting some intentions into 2025. So I think that's what that might look like for me.
I love that. That's awesome. Is there anyone else that'd like to share? Thank you. Oh, Cindy, are you talking? We can't hear you. It doesn't say you're muted.
Yeah.
Might be the headset. I don't know. Sometimes. Maybe it's like, it's Mercury is in retrograde, so I'll just blame it on that for sure. Could be sometimes it's like it automatically defaults to computer audio instead of like microphone. I don't know.
We definitely see you trying to
But
talk.
you talking, hear you. If anybody wants to share in the chat, like if you want to share in the chat, we can look at that too. I know there's some people that like can't share too, so. And if it comes on all of a sudden, just share, even if it's not the right time, please, because I want to hear.
I would definitely share, but I'm almost to pick up my youngest daughter, and she's
Okay.
chaos incarnate. So the only thing that I can really say quickly is it started as chaos until about beginning of November when I lost my job, and it has been the little things and the spending time with my kids and starting this journey. Everything happened all at once. I started back on this path after 15 years, and then I lost my job, and I thought it was my dream job and my dream position. And I sat there and I cried and I mourned it. And then I got to forage with my girls and roll down hills and spend that quality time with my kids and realize that's more important. And it's the little things, and it's the reconnecting with nature and the things I love and all of that. And I'm about to be pulling up, but I just wanted to kind of put that out there for now.
I love that. I'm like been really impressed with Mary because she joined us, was saying she's getting back on the path and then lost her job, but has been so positive about it. So, and that's not, and it's like same with you, Christine, like having a loss like that and then turning it into, okay, like how can I fill that space? That's beautiful. And I think that's like part of what happens on the spiritual path, I swear. Like my grandmother, I grew up with the saying, God only gives you as much as you can handle. But sometimes it'd be like, really, like God must think very highly of me because it's given me a lot. And I know, like when I went through my spiritual awakening, it was like it was 2018, and I knew that like teaching was no longer a fit. I was an English teacher for 13 years. Just felt like it wasn't a fit. My body was like just not working anymore, and I knew that I actually couldn't physically do this job. There's like a whole bunch of things. I kept praying like, I know this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing anymore. Show me what I'm supposed to be doing. And then like my life fell apart. Like my sister, she overdosed, she lived, but she had been the one, she also had a suicide attempt. She had been the one watching my kids while I was at work, didn't know she had this like insane drug habit. And then I had like my boss was like bullying me and several other people, and like all very manipulative and weird. And then when I stepped forward, several people were like, oh, because he rejected you, like you were wanting to sleep with him. Like that was what everybody assumed. And I was like, ugh, like first of all, ugh, but also no, like that because as a woman, sometimes when you speak up against a man against power, it doesn't go well. And so yeah, and then it was like that. My health was like, I thought I was dying. I didn't even want to go to the doctor because I'm like, they're just gonna tell me I'm dying. Like I really felt that way. And then I found this great like health coach. And I wasn't dying. I was just what he and I kind of came to was a complete depletion from 3 pregnancies. I had a miscarriage in between my kids and breastfeeding and already coming from a place of not being very healthy that had like complete depletion of like everything in my body. And we spent like years like healing my stomach and putting nutrients back into my body. But if I continued on the path, I had all the early markers of Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid problem. And so with his help and like really strict guidance for like about 5 years, I don't have any thyroid issue. So definitely believe in the power of like alternative healing, but that's a story for another time. But I really took that time and I was like, okay, I'm going to finally write that book because I like my life fell apart. Like this is it. I'm going to write. I'm going to do with the things I'm wanting to do my whole life. And I've been like, no, I'm too busy because I'm a teacher and a mom. And
I think you might have your volume back.
I do. It sounds that way, doesn't it?
Cindy,
That's IT troubleshooting, right?
good job.
So yeah, I guess that to take away from your story, Jay, that's really amazing. I feel like not envious of the entire story, but it's nice to know that that you could go through such a path and just come out on the other end in a much better state, it seems like, right?
For sure.
Yeah. For me, I'm Sabrina, by the way. I'm from the Netherlands. I'll be here for a little while because I have to go to sleep.
Oh.
But this year, I had picked the word rise, but rise, it wasn't really rising. It was really grieving and healing and doing therapy, trauma therapy, and I'm still working on that. And but throughout the year, I don't know, during summer I was really at my lowest. But we had our community garden, and my daughter and I were learning to grow stuff, food that is. And as we learned that, we were also growing ourselves. And yeah, so and the second part of the year, there was so much healing and gratitude and finding so much more attunement with nature, with ourselves, with witchcraft, becoming more like, I kind of know what I'm doing now, more and more. Very different from before. So yeah, and for next year, um, I don't know. I think next year will be rise. But the thing that came up to mind just now, the thing that came up when I was doing the breathing was freedom. So yeah,
I
that's
love that.
something I'll be focusing on. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited actually for next year. And that's been 10 years since I've felt that. You guys don't know my story and you don't need to, Jen does. So I'm really excited for next year. So that's really a big win.
That's huge. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Cindy, did you want to share at all? We'll get back to
Sure.
you.
Mine isn't as nearly as well thought out. Mine from 2024 is just anxious. This entire year has just kind of been tense, all from like a work perspective. And so ironically, 2024, 2025, I'm just like everything. I just want to slow down. I feel like I've been a rabbit 2024. I want a turtle for 2025. So yeah, that's my biggest thing. It's just, and it's all work related. So somewhat out of my hands, but kind of trying to advocate for myself. Like you were talking about, Jenny, is the fact that trying to figure out how to slow down somehow. Cause I don't know that we can repeat 2024 around here. So
Yeah. What do you do for a job, if you don't mind sharing?
sure. I work in healthcare IT. So a lot of, yeah. So just, it's just a lot. So, and it's important, we're making sure that everything is working but there's other people and very much trying to learn myself to let go of some of things. I think that's part of it is, I think as we all are women and we try to take on so much and making sure that everything is wrapped in a bow and how do we make it the best that it can and taking responsibility for some things, but other things I think when I become a certain age, as I grow older, I realize how much more I could just probably just let it go. Someone else will do it and it might get done in a different way, right? Might not be my way, but that's totally fine, right? So that's what I'm looking forward to for 25.
I think that's great. I told my daughter, this is kind of similar advice that I would have told, like I just said to my daughter, was that it's okay sometimes to not give 100%. It's okay sometimes to give like 80 because 80 is still a B. And as long as you're not giving like F work, like it's okay. And it's because she is like a perfectionist and she's amazing at everything she does. But like she woke up this morning completely exhausted because she did like school and then orchestra practice and then cheered at a basketball game. And she's going to cheer again Friday. And she's like, my voice is almost gone. I was like, well, what if you only give like on the weeks where you have 2 games you're cheering, what if you only give 80 or 90%? Because you can't, like, you're going to wear yourself out. And she just looked at me like, I can do that? I'm like, you can do that. Because your 90% is still like somebody's 110%. And so Cindy, I'm going to tell you the same thing. Like you're probably 110% all the time. And your like 80, 90% is probably somebody else's like the above and beyond. Like they would be like, wow, like I can't believe I did that. Like, so yeah, it's okay to give less. Okay, so I do want to hear, I know, like I said, to bring questions, and so I do want to save time for that. But I wanted to do this activity with everybody that is kind of fun. So I've already shared in here how to do a year ahead reading, and some people have done that, some people haven't. But there's another way to get your tarot card for the year, and it's by using numerology. Okay, so if you're not a math person, feel free to take out a calculator and a pen and a paper. But so in numerology, is anybody familiar with numerology before I like go in a little? Okay, so numerology is like the study, obviously, of numbers. And my mom actually, she wouldn't have called herself a witch, but she did everybody's numerology charts for them. Like she'd get to know someone and be like, "Ooh, let me do your chart." And then I learned from her that a D in a first name gives a person a hard lesson to learn. Like it always indicates a hard lesson. And that L's always indicate money and luck. And so I made sure both of my children had L's in their names and no D's. Because my Lucy, she almost was a Lucinda. And so it's like, nope, you're going to be a Lucille. And there's a lot of L's in Lucille. So that was just something, it's like a little, and it's okay if you named your kids with the like 5 Ds, it doesn't matter because that was all meant to be. But yeah, that was something I took away from her. And so with numerology, we always add numbers. So for 2025, it is a 9 year. So because you go 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 5. So we're going to find your year number today. And so what you're going to do is take just your birthday, but not the year you were born. And so your month number, your day number, and then you're going to add 9 because that's the year number. So for instance, my birthday is April 26th. So 4 plus 2 plus 6 plus 9 equals 21. So take a moment and tell me your number. You can either put it in the chat or you can just tell us. But once you get your number, let us know. I promise this is all going somewhere. Okay, we got an 18, 19, 30. Okay, the person that has 30, we don't have a 30 in this situation because you'll see why in a moment. So we're going to go 3 plus 0, and we're going to make that 3. So we have to reduce that number. So your 30 is now a 3. Okay, now using this, there was a lot of people use that number to determine what major arcana card from the tarot is their vibration for the year. So I'm 21, which means I'm a world year. And so we have, let's see, we have a 19. I have the cards, but I actually kept like a little cheat sheet on my phone, which I don't have because I'm going to blame Mercury. Okay, 41. Yes, so you'd be a 5 then. Okay, so we have a 19. 19
Oh.
is the sun,
Nice.
which is like one of my, that's probably the happiest card in the major arcana. So definitely something to like look into. When I was pregnant, we both thought I was having a boy. I drew this card and I'm like, yep, I'm having, and my son is like the sun. But yes, this is such a happy card. You have the baby on the horse, you have all the sunflowers, like it's the most joyful card. So your card would be that. Then we have 18. And that's why I said if you have a tarot deck, feel free to grab it. It would have been helpful if I put these cards in order, but I didn't. Okay.
I think it's your birthday number, your first, like your without your year, your month and your day, and then you add 9 to it because that's the year of the number of the year.
Thank you. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for, yes, I totally, okay. Okay, so 18 is the moon.
Ah, that's beautiful, the moon.
Yeah, and you know, I learned from a Romani technique of looking at the tarot that the moon always represents the daughter. So the sun always obviously represents the sun in like certain readings, right? Like if you're looking at like someone's life, and the moon can represent a daughter. So I think that's really cool.
That
And then
is
with it,
really cool.
yeah, and it's the dog and the wolf. Like it's not a very good drawing of a wolf, but it's a dog and a wolf, which represents like the intuition and the instincts. And then you have Scorpion, like the Scorpio coming out of the water. I like this card. It's always got to do with intuition.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
And then we have 3. Three is the Empress. Okay, which is like divine femininity and abundance. It's always like for women, especially it often represents like wealth. She's like pregnant, she's got pomegranates on her, she's like in her queen energy. So whenever this comes up in a reading, it's always like something good's coming in. Like it's always like prosperity and as well. Good things.
I will take that. That sounds good.
Okay. And then we have a 5. Yeah, that's a really good one. It's funny, like as I age, the cards change for me. Because whenever that one come up, I'd be like, oh my God, am I pregnant? And now that I'm older, I'm like pregnant with an idea. I'm pregnant with an idea. Okay. And 5 is the Hierophant. He is like the balance of religion, spirituality, and authority. So this is always a card of like leadership too. So it's a person who's a leader, but a balanced leader, someone who's leading with their like soul self, right? Their heart.
Wow.
their spirit. Okay, and then we have a 10. Yeah, 46 would be a 10.
You understand how a questionnaire series can be assigned. Yeah, so it looks like we got that one question.
And you get to choose your own adventure with a 10. Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, yeah.
Which is such a good card. So it's the balance of all of the like cardinal signs, the balance of the 4 elements, and then it's also like just like this is the card. I always think of it whenever it comes to someone's reading. I'm always like you get to choose what happens. Like the destiny isn't set in stone. So to me, this means it's like a lot of changes coming up in a good way, and there's going to be a lot of like full circle moments too. So this is a good one.
That
Okay, so I wanted to
matches exactly what I'm feeling is going to be happening because my husband wants me to stay home with the kids too. So there's a lot of changes that are going to be happening.
wow, that is a lot.
That really matches up.
That's awesome.
And sorry for the chaos in the background. We're home and the kids are here and the AKA horses are out. So I do apologize for that. I may stay on mute for a little bit.
Okay, yeah, we understand. Totally get that. Yeah, this is why we're at this time. I pick up my son at like 2:40, so I can't do this with him here because he's like. I always use the term chismoso. It's Spanish for like nosy gossip. And I'm always like, get out of here, chismoso, because like it's the only word. We don't have a word like that in English, but it totally fits him. I'm like, get out of the cheese, go, because he always wants. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm like, always in on it.
Oh, yeah.
Nosy
My
Gemini.
daughter is exactly the same.
Gemini.
Always reading over my shoulder. Who are you texting?
Yep.
Who are you texting?
Oh, yes, yes. And when I'm doing a voice text, oh, she always wants to meddle.
Yeah, which is why I've gotten some from Ariel.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, and her English is really good. I'm always like, wow, that's amazing. I'm so impressed with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to give you those cards, and you can do them for like friends, family, kids. It's just something to consider. So for me, I got the world, and so what I'll probably do is put that card on my altar for the year, like contemplate and keep going back to it, like, you know, what does this mean for me, and how, like, you know, why this card, and just kind of journal about it. And of course, you can read about it, but I think like I actually like sat through a tarot collection of seminars last year. And one of the people on there was talking about how like one card can be so meaningful that you could really just pick one a year, get so much out of it. So yeah, so now you have your card, and then choose what you want to do with it. I know some of you will probably pull your own. Last year I pulled one intuitively and I got the Hermit, and that actually fit quite a bit for me for lots of reasons. And it kept changing meaning throughout the year. And I think you probably saw my post about it being on the floor.
Yes.
Me realizing,
Yeah.
like, I'm out of my Hermit era, so I'll see if the world is more fitting. And then our card for just the vibration of 2025 is actually the Hermit. This year it's a 9, and 9 in numerology is a finishing number. So we're definitely going to see a lot of endings of cycles, like collectively. I mean, we're already seeing so much going on in the world around us, but there will definitely be a lot of like such huge changes. It'll feel like doors are closing. It doesn't, and of course something else opens because of that.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a lot of cycles finishing out. There's a lot of planets going to be moved to new planets, like places we've never seen in our lifetime. And so there's huge changes. And I actually, I interviewed Eliza Kelly recently, and one of the things that wasn't on there, but that we talked about, was that time is moving so fast. And it's funny because I kept thinking it's just because I'm older now. Like now that I'm in my 40s, I'm just going to constantly say time's moving fast because that's what all the people did when I was a kid. But my children, and then I knew it wasn't an older person thing, because my kids are like, gosh, time is just going by so fast, or this month's going by so fast. And so astrologers are saying it's because of where the planets are lined up, that time is moving faster. Like we are perceiving it moving more quickly. And I just kind of blew my mind because I thought it was just like being a busier person or something. So I wanted to share that as well. Okay, we have the full moon. This is our last full moon of December on the 15th. Also, Mercury stations direct. Hallelujah. And the full moon is going to be in Gemini. And so I wanted to open it up to see if anybody had any thoughts, questions, or ideas about the full moon. Like, what are you going to be doing that day? And then any questions in general for me or for the group about moon work. So I want to open it up to questions first before I share anything.
I don't know yet.
So I think I'll have one question. So it's always so full moon is on the 15th and it's the fullest at like 3 a.m. right? So is it best to do, and I think there's always conversations about having like a 3-day window, right? So when is the best time? Like if you have an opportunity, right? So it's always nice to have the extra day, because I'm like, oh shoot, last night was full moon. So quick to myself. Is it best to try to plan it the eve of that night? I mean, I think 3 is pretty good example because it's in the middle of the night. So on Saturday night into Sunday morning. But if it's at like 4 p.m. or 7 p.m., when is really the best time to take advantage of that?
When you can.
Mhm.
I will be
Sounds
very
good.
Good.
when you can, because I've done it different ways. Like when I was a teenager, I would know when it was exact, and I'd just get my little self out there with all that energy and be out at 3 o'clock in the morning and be like, "I love you, moon," But I became like an adult with far less energy, and I actually, to be honest, little secret, I do all my full moon stuff the day after the full moon in the morning. Shocking.
Wow.
I don't even do it at night because except for moon water and stuff like that. But it's
Yeah.
because that's when I'm alone. So
Mhm.
I identify as neurodivergent, and one of my divergencies is I don't like to be perceived, meaning I don't like to be watched by others. And so I don't want anybody seeing me do my moon things. I don't like it. And my husband, he never goes to bed when I'd like him to on those nights. So I'll just be like I'd like you to go to bed early tonight. And he's like, no. And then my daughter's always up too. She never wants, I'm like, you want to do something together? She's like, no, I'll do my own thing, 14. So I usually end up doing it in the morning, and I'll just like talk to Mother Moon. Now, when I work with Hecate, I will talk to her at night. Like I'll sneak in after dinner when everyone's doing chores and be like, what's up, Hecate? And like I'll talk to her at night a little bit. But really, realistically, for me in my life, my schedule, the day after it's at its fullest in that morning, we're still in the energy. Like, you don't see her. I mean, sometimes we do see her in the day of the moon, but we're still there. And so, really, it's totally up to you. You'll see in our coven, some people will be like, it's the full moon. And then the next day, some people will be like, it's the full moon. And then either one of them is wrong. Neither one's wrong. And I would never correct. There are like, part of why like I started our coven is because I was really sick of like the witchy rudeness of some people. Be like, no, it has to be this way, and da 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 da. And I'm a high priestess of a triple cord unicorn, 5 times removed with all the, I don't know. I'm like, great, I'm so happy for you, honey. Like that's good for you. But like for the rest of us who like have lives, it's no, you do you. And I
Yeah.
feel like the energy is really always there for us.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you saying that. I really appreciate you saying that. That kind of helps with, everybody's life, and everyone has, their own chaos and busyness about it. So it's hard to do the things you want to do exactly at the moment you think you should be doing it.
Yeah, and that's why I always say that 3-day window, like 3 days before the moon's at its fullest and 3 days after. So really, it's like a 6-7 day window. It's fine, and like a lot of I've like knock on wood, I've never had a spell not go well. So
Mhm.
I'm speaking from experience. Like my spells work. They're like my manifestations work, and I'm doing it this way, and it's fine because you're still like in the energy. And your body's water, so your body's deeply connected to the moon, whether she's like you can see it or not. Like your body is like, I know, my body knows. It's like I'm in tune, I'm ready. Because it doesn't want to sleep. And all of that, right? I have like so much energy. I feel like insane around the moon sometimes. Where lunacy comes from because it's just like so much energy, so many ideas. And it's like, it's because we're meant to be like outside more at night because the moon is like ready and showing us. She's like there, like you can come out here and do your night hunting or whatever we needed for evolution, right? So that's a great question. I love that. Is that a good answer for you? You feel satisfied?
Wonderful. It gives me very much hope of I'm not gonna drag my tushy out at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's one, it's cold, and two, yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's different. Like, you're out, you happen to be at like a summer night and you have like a bonfire going and just happen to be there. Like that's super magical, but we can't force that to happen. So like when that does happen, great. And then when it doesn't and you're inside and you're like tired and you're like, I'm gonna do it tomorrow morning, that's okay too. Yeah. Any more questions on the moon, full moon? I will say, so personally, this moon, this is the last moon of the year. I usually use this moon as a time of what we just did, which was reflecting. Now, I know like, so for witches, there's different ways to celebrate the new year. So some witches actually look at Samhain, which already passed, as the actual new year. I've seen it both ways. I've seen Samhain as the new year, and I've seen Yule, winter solstice, as the new year. But astrologers say spring is the energetic new year, right? And then our calendars tell us that January 1st is our new year. So
Mhm.
I like to, and then we also in our family celebrate Lunar New Year, even though we're not Asian, but it started as a pandemic thing of what more holidays can we celebrate because we have nothing else to do. And now every year the kids are like, I am noodles. I'm like, I guess, because you want more. So yeah, we're making noodles for longevity. So I just, well, how I look at that is like, I'll take every opportunity there is for a fresh start. Give me all like I missed that one. This I didn't feel it. Okay, give me the next one. Give me the next. So I look at this full moon as I'm going to close the chapter on this year. So I'm personally like done with 2024. Like I've had a good year, but the energy's a little weird and I'm ready to move on. And so what I usually will do is light a candle and I'll say all the things I'm grateful for. And it can be, like I said, small wins, right? Like I'm grateful. And when I have a real struggle with finding gratitude, I'll be like, I'm grateful for my heart pumping blood. Like I'll be real basic on my body organs, but that really helps me sometimes get into a better mood. So I'm gonna list what I'm grateful for, and then I'm gonna list all the things I don't want to take with me next year.
Idea.
I'm gonna be like, I don't want to take this, 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 and I'm gonna list those things on this full moon. And I like full moons because I like that for release. So I'm gonna list all the things coming with me, all my wins are coming with me. Then separately, I'm gonna list all the things I don't want to come with me. I'm gonna burn it safely. So I usually take my little cauldron, light it on fire, and I bring it to the kitchen sink and like let it go, you know? And then but that's personal because I like that. I like the door closing. I like a new planner. Like I'm so excited to use my new Wee Moons planner. I got stickers. Like, I like it's like the little trapper keeper girl in me with my Lisa Frank stickers. Like I can't wait for my new binder, my school supplies. So I am like looking forward. So that's what I'm gonna do for this full moon. And there's no wrong way. It's a Gemini moon, which is really good moon for like communication. So if you're like wanting to do something about like holidays are coming up and you're like, oh man, so and so. And I always like get into the same routine of the passive aggressiveness. And I want to be the bigger person. I want to ignore them. I want to like take the higher road. It's a good moon for to manifest for that too. You know, even though not everybody manifests a full moon, but it's okay. It's totally okay to do that. And say like, you know, put some things in there for the holiday season. Like I really want this, this, and this. What I did at this last new moon is I picked the 10 of cups, which in the tarot is like the little family with the rainbow. And like they're all looking at the rainbow holding hands and they're just like so happy. I chose that card and I asked for that card to take us through to the next year. I was like, this is how I want to end. Yeah, that's how I want to end the year. So you feel free to take that idea too. So if there's like a tarot card or a symbol or a picture of how you would like to have 2024 end, that's another option that you could do. You can put that there, you can light a candle and be like, this is how I want to end my year. I want to end my year with this keyword or whatever. And then I want to go into the next year with this. So those are just some ideas. Any ideas or anything, any questions on what I said? Okay.
I'm writing.
Are you taking notes? I love that. I was an and I taught note taking. So like when some of my former students are all like, some of them are now in their 30s, which is like really aging me. I don't like it. But some of them will show me like, Miss Bell, look, I did my notes. And they're like, I'm like, yeah, I taught you how to do notes like that. So yes, I write everything down to perimenopause. I don't remember anything. At all. Just like owl. So yeah, I think we kind of covered everything I wanted to talk about. There are a couple of things you'll see coming up in our coven. One is someone had the idea of like I've never belonged to a church like this because I grew up Catholic and like Catholics unfortunately don't go to church. But in other churches, I know that they'll do like prayer chains and prayer circles. So at the end of the church, they'll be like, and these are the people that have asked for prayers. So someone asked if we could do something similar in our coven. So what I'm going to do is put a call every new moon and full moon for whatever you're working on if you want a little extra magic sent your way from someone else. And so I've done this in the past where I've asked who wants a candle lit for them. And I'll just go ahead and like light a candle for everybody. When we did our silent supper for Samhain, I listed all the names that everybody put into that comment. I said, I'm celebrating, and I celebrated my own loved ones who've passed and then everybody else's. So it's just an idea. You don't have to participate. But I thought that was a really lovely idea. So I'll be putting that out for this full moon. Another thing too is that people ask, like, are we allowed to ask for like help like that? Okay, bye, Sabrina. Thanks for joining us.
Bye. Oh, my
Bye.
son says bye too. Bye.
Yeah, so someone was wanting to know, like, can we ask for like energy being sent to us and things like that? Of course. Like, I really want it to be like our coven, not my coven. Like, I purposely named it our coven, not Jenny's coven, for a reason. Like, please feel free to ask for things, ask questions, share. Like, I just found out someone in our coven is like a tarot expert. And I was like, and you haven't shared with us? She's like, I just didn't think about it. Please. What? Like, please like share. And I also want to say that like whatever wisdom, knowledge that you think like, oh, someone else knows more. Maybe, but the way you say it might help somebody else. You know, like we hear sometimes the same thing like 10 times. Okay, like for example, for like with my kids, I will tell them something many times and then they'll be like, you know what my teacher said? And it'll be like, same advice I gave. And they're like, that's so wise of my teacher. Yeah. Yeah, your teacher's really smart. Great. I'm so glad, you know? But like, it's really true. So like, I have one way of talking, one way of writing. When you all say something in a different way, it's like, oh yeah. And I learn all the time too. So don't think like, yeah, I've been doing this for 3 decades, but my whole goal is to be a lifelong learner. Like I am always learning. And so that's why I will sincerely ask you questions. Like I asked you, Maddie, about give us your astrology tips. Like I wasn't just asking that to be like asking. Like I was like, tell me what you know. Like I want to know too. Right. So it's very sincere. And I do really want to just put that out there yet again, is that it's what you make it, right? As more and more as what's going on in the world is going on, and people are becoming more and more divisive, and people like there's so much changing with like AI, which is really scary to me. And the whole AI stuff as a writer is scary, as just everything. I think more and more we need community with like actual people. And like, yes, I know we're online, but it doesn't, like when I go on our coven, it doesn't feel like Facebook or any of those other places. Like it feels good. The energy feels good. And I say this all the time when I do readings for the group. I'm always like, oh, the energy is like different. When I used to read for YouTube, the energy would feel kind of like heavy and a little bit like sticky. I don't know how to describe it. But when I tune in with our coven, I always feel like almost high. Like I sometimes have to be like, okay, like take some breaths, get yourself grounded before you talk to these people, because it's just like I get so full of like light and energy. Our energy in the group is very, very good. And so yeah, I just want to throw that out there, that I'm grateful for everybody in the community, and I'm grateful when you do share. And I never have ever thought like, oh my God, I can't believe she asked that. Like I've never, because like we sometimes like the questions are like, for me, I'm writing a book for beginner witches. Your questions are invaluable. They'll be like, oh yeah, yeah, people want to know that. Duh, like that needs to go in there. So yeah, I just want to put that out there as a real invitation from the heart. Like I'm not just saying that. And that's part of why when the book circle, I was like, does anybody else want to lead the books? You know, I didn't, like I do an okay job, but like someone else who really like read the book and loves the book, picked the book, they're gonna do a better job, and they're gonna do it differently than the person before them. And difference always good for however we learn, right? Yeah, so I just wanted to leave. We have like a minute or so, but I can stay on longer. I don't have to get my son till like a little bit. But any other questions, comments about the full moon, about Yule, about anything we talked about?
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I've got this log ready for Yule log to burn on the 21st is when I need to do it. We've now been invited to a group potluck at a neighbor's sugar shack. And I'm like, okay, so I plan on burning this at home. And then my husband's like, just bring the log and we'll put it on the fire there. And now I'm kind of like, oh, well, I don't know whether to be a little like shy about it because I'm gonna try and put sigils on it and stuff and have it nice. And he's like, yeah, no, just bring the log and we'll put it on the fire there. So is that okay to do? Like I don't need to do it at home. I could do it at this potluck. Just put it on the fire.
Is and also if that's uncomfortable for you because you didn't want it that way, then you can totally do it the next day. So again, like with the full moons, and I wrote about this in my section on Beltane in like the Sabbaths book that's coming out, but I look at the wheel of the year as like pie slices. So like Yule starts the 21st, but it goes all the way until February 2nd. Like you have
Okay.
this the whole slice. So I know
Okay.
husbands are like, it's fine. But like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I want to bake it there. And so you could, sure, but also you don't have to celebrate it that day. Yeah, it's
Okay.
hard because you're going to be like outing yourself. Like,
I know.
yeah,
Well, that was the thing. Here, I have a log that I'm gonna just throw on the fire. So,
I personally wouldn't want to do that either. So I totally get it.
okay.
Yeah, I love
Well, I feel better
right?
now.
Yeah, so like the 22nd, the next day, and then someone had asked about like the 21, 12 days of Yule, and in like pagan, so I consider myself a witch, not a pagan, but people can be both. In their culture, like Yule starts the 21st and it goes for 12 days. So
Okay.
that's like Viking. It comes from like the Vikings, and there's different nights for different things. So you got a lot of time.
Okay. Perfect. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I just imagined you carrying your log.
I know. Carting it to the potluck.
There's people ever watched
My
Twin
macaroni
Peaks,
and
like
cheese.
that lady that had the log in Twin Peaks and that
I
show.
love
Just gotta
Cindy.
carry
I'm
the log.
telling you. That is also where my brain went, Cindy, because I love Twin Peaks. So it's like, yes. It's hard, like once my books I think are out, it will be more obvious where I live. But at this moment, like only a few people know. And I was at a neighbor's potluck recently. It just wanted to like made me think of this. And when everyone was like talking about how festive my clothes were, because I wear Halloween stuff all year. And it was like September. They're like, "Oh, you're already ready for Halloween." I'm like, "Oh, yes." And then
Yeah.
one woman's like, "I love Halloween because it's the one night a year I can be a witch." And I was like, "Yes, okay." Me too, me too. So yeah, sometimes I just like it's easier. I don't like it's like how do you work that in a conversation? Like I could have went like, well, I'm a witch all the time, and then she probably would have also taken it as me saying like instead of saying bitch. You know what I mean? Like I feel like this was using it like that. So but yeah, good question. Any other questions?
Sorry for
No?
the
Okay.
distraction in the background. I had to apologize. The boys are being ridiculous.
No, you're totally fine. I love your
Yeah, my moose.
Oh.
He's the puppy.
Oh gosh, that'd be big.
Yeah, he's a little ridiculous. So sorry about that.
No, you're totally that's really cute actually. Yeah, so on kind of like an end note, celebrate the full moon 7 days around then, and then Yule is from now until like February 1st, 2nd, in my opinion. And like I said, I feel like at this point I know what I'm doing. Like I feel like I've done it. And I don't like when I don't like kind of like that all or nothing approach when someone's like it has to be this way. That's just goes against everything I feel like witchcraft should be. It should be like make it your own to me. So definitely make it your own. And yeah, thank you for joining me today. I'll put the recording up and yeah, today is the Guadalupe feast day. So I think that's going to be, I plan on connecting with her this evening. actually in the evening, not in the morning, because I was busy this morning with acupuncture. I do want to do a quick closing prayer. If you don't want to stay for that, that's fine. But we did like kind of open a circle, so I always like to close it down. I don't want to leave us like hanging and leaving all the spirit guides hanging. So if you want to take a moment, take a breath, close your eyes. And we want to thank first and foremost ourselves, highest selves, for being here. We want to thank our spirit guides of highest consciousness, our angels, our ancestors, the land spirits, the elementals and the elements of earth, air, fire, and water. We want to thank Our Lady Guadalupe. We want to thank the animals and the creature teachers. We want to thank the plants and the trees and the flowers and the stones. We want to thank the sky, the cosmos. We want to thank the mother moon, who's almost full in her pregnant belly, her nurturing self. We want to thank her for shining her light on us wherever she is. And we want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you for lending your energy. Our circle is open but never broken. And may the healing and the laughter and the joy we shared here go out into the world where it is needed, under the law of grace for the good of all. So blessed be.